everybody, my name is Tanya and this is going to be a birthday book haul. So now that it's been over a month since my birthday, I thought it was probably time to film the book haul relating to that birthday. Well, there is a reason that it's delayed because I only got one of these books on my actual birthday, but some more came in over the next week and a bit as somebody left it a little bit late to order from Book Depository to get to Australia on time. Then also I got some money for my birthday, and so it wasn't until a couple of weeks later that I went on the shopping trip to spend that money and maybe spend a little money of my own. Starting off with the books that were given to me, I had given my mother a list of 9 books that were in a wish list, you know, just order something from this list, and as I said, I got one of those on my birthday. And then the next week a big parcel came, and in that parcel there were another 7 books, and then another one came a while after that. And she ordered me all 9 books, and I was completely not expecting that. It was very, very spoiled. And so I've got the 9 books here to show you that I received from her, and one very enthusiastic cat. So the first 3 books are something that I definitely did see on BookTube, and that's where I've got it from, and I think it sounds absolutely amazing. And that is the Southern Reach trilogy by Jeff Vandermeer. So we've got Annihilation, Authority, and Acceptance. When I saw these covers I knew I wanted them, but in person they're just even more stunning. This whole thing is gorgeous. So this is a sci-fi trilogy that's set around the mysterious place called Area X, and it focuses on a expedition to Area X. So something horrible has happened to all the previous expeditions to try and explore Area X, and we're now on expedition number 12. And I've purposely not read the backs of the next 2 in the series because I don't want to know what happens in this first one and spoil anything. I heard really great things on BookTube about this, and it just sounds right up my alley. Next up, I've got a couple of books about books, which is, you know, always a good thing for a book haul. The first one is How to Be a Heroine by Samantha Ellis, and this one I first saw on Mercedes' channel, so Mercy's Bookish Musings. I immediately loved the idea of this. This book is an examination of different heroines in literature that came after Samantha Ellis had a disagreement with a best friend about who was the better heroine, Jane Eyre or Cathy Earnshaw, and realizing that maybe the heroines that she read about and looked up to maybe aren't all they're cracked up to be. And so she goes back and re-examines some of the heroines from her past and whether they live up to rereading and whether they're worthy of the place that they had in shaping her life and her thoughts. And so the whole idea sounds fantastic. I will say that after watching Mercedes talk about this one, there definitely is an element of spoilers. So before reading this one, I'm going to have to go through. There is a glossary in the end showing all the books that she mentions in here. So I'm going to target that list and go through and make sure I've read everything that I care about being spoiled on before I get to this one. But I'm still really excited to have this and really looking forward to reading it. Just maybe not quite now. And the second book about books I have, I'm not quite sure where I first heard of it from, but that is The Year of Reading Dangerously, How 50 Great Books Saved My Life by Andy Miller. And again, this sounds fantastic. This is about a man who, you know, has a job, a family, but he's not reading, and so he embarks on a journey to read and to read all the books that he said he wanted to read, or that he's been meaning to get to, or just that wasn't happening, and so he goes through and reads 50 books. And again, there's a page saying warning contains spoilers, and again it does mention what books are covered for each chapter. So this book 1, Master and Margarita, for chapter 1, book 2, Middlemarch, so, and then others have got more, book 7 to 9, so it does warn you of what's coming. But again, it's going to be interesting to see how many of these I've read and how much of this I can read now and how much I'm willing to be spoiled on, because, you know, some things don't matter, but other things I really don't. I prefer to experience them myself. Next up I have this gorgeous little edition of Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own, and so this is her essay about the fact that to write or for anything, a woman requires a space of her own to do that in. This is part of another little set that's designed by Carly Bickford Smith of Penguin, who does the Cloth and Classics and the Penguin English Library editions, which I've got a lot of. At this stage I'm not rushing out to collect all of these because I'm not quite sure whether everything in that set is of such interest to me. It's more non-fiction-y kind of stuff, which is generally not an area that I read a lot of, but this one in particular I was interested in and wanted to give it a go. Next up I have The Complete Stories of Flannery O'Connor. This is something that's on the 30 before 30 list that I keep saying I'm going to do a video about and I haven't yet, but this is something that's on that list, and so is something that I'm going to be reading in the next few years. I have read the short story collection Everything That Rises Must Converge by Flannery O'Connor, which is contained within this collection, but there's another full collection and some other things that weren't within either of her collections that are in this one, and so I really enjoyed that. Really looking forward to reading some more Flannery O'Connor, so glad that I've now got this. So next up I've got a couple more books about books, so I lied earlier, that wasn't the extent of it. The first one is the very popular at the moment, The Bookshop book. This is something that I had on my wish list for Christmas as well, and I didn't get it there, and so I was, you know, fingers crossed that I would get it for my birthday, and then it came and I'm so happy. This of course is by Jen Campbell, who has a booktube channel here and is the author of Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshops, which I can relate to quite closely, having worked in libraries for years. Maybe not quite some of the completely crazy things that come up in those books, but we do get some quirky questions too. So I'm sure you know all about this by now, but this is the stories of different bookshops around the world, and I've heard nothing but great things about it. I'm really excited to get to it and to also see what entries from Australia are here and maybe try and get to those at some stage. So, and then the last one I have, which goes quite well with How to Be a Heroine, is Well-Read Women, Portraits of Fiction's Most Beloved Heroines by Samantha Hahn, and this I've seen on Mercedes' channel and also Holly from Library at the Edge of the World, and it's just beautiful. When I saw it and just saw the cover, I went, that's going straight on my wish list, and now I have it, and it's beautiful. So again, you've probably seen this around. This is various portraits of different women in fiction, and they are just gorgeous. I haven't spent the time flicking through it fully yet, but I can't wait to kind of get down and go through. So we've got the various different literary ladies along with a quote from them from the book, and it's just beautiful. So that gets to the end of the books that I received from my mother for my wish list. 9 books, incredibly spoiled, and I just can't wait to get to them all. So as I said, I got some money for my birthday that I decided, you know, fairly appropriately to spend on books, and yes, I may have contributed a fair bit of my own money to this shopping spree as well. So a couple of weeks ago I stayed up in Melbourne to go see a concert, and the next day I went to a large Dimmicks that's located in Melbourne, and I found a lot of good things there. First up is the one that I'm counting as the present that I bought with the money I received, since it's the most expensive item and something I possibly wouldn't have bought just for myself, and that is S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst. I haven't even broken into this yet, which is ridiculous, so I might open it up now, but I've seen this around booktube but also in real life and have been completely intrigued by it. I don't know that I can tell you all that much about it, except that it's kind of a book within a book within a book. We've got this book inside here made up to be like a library book. There's margin notes, there's postcards, there's all kind of crazy stuff in there. I just want to check it all out. Success! So lovely slipcase, but then we've got this. So Ship of Theseus by V.M. Stryker, and then there's margin notes and letters and other miscellaneous items all through this. I know we got a request for this at the library at one point in time, and we couldn't purchase it because there's just all this ephemera scattered through it, and it's just not at all appropriate for a library, which is amusing when it's a book that's made up to look like a library book. I've heard it's hard and that people have struggled with it, but just the whole design of it has got me completely intrigued and would love to to dive in and find out what on earth all of this is about. Next up, I found 2 J.R. Tolkien titles that match my little edition of Row Random that I got at Christmas for my BookTube Secret Santa, and so they are Farmer Giles of Ham and The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, and they're just precious little hardback editions that are just gorgeous. This one, Farmer Giles of Ham, and then Tom Bombadil. So I did have both of those stories in this very, very old edition that's just, see all the spotting and the, no. So this was a secondhand copy I picked up. At one point it's growing things, like it's not nice at all. So when I found the little editions that match my Row Random, I couldn't pass them up. Next up is something that you'll have heard of a lot lately, and that is An Untamed State by Roxane Gay. This sounds amazing and horrible and heartbreaking all at the same time. This is a story of a young woman in Haiti who is kidnapped and her father isn't paying the ransom, and so her struggles and what she has to endure in the hands of the kidnappers, and it sounds gutting and powerful and amazing, and I'm so looking forward to reading it. Next up is a book from a collection that I'm still tossing and turning whether I'm going to collect or not, and whether I want to rush out and buy everything that I can because some of them are out of print now, or whether I'm not going to, but I saw one in the bookstore and I couldn't help but grab it, and that is Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier in the gorgeous Virago designer editions that are just the just. So I own one other book in the Virago designer edition, and that is The Dad Avocado, which I haven't read, but the storyline of that one intrigued me the most, and I wanted to grab it to kind of look at the quality of them. I really like the cover of that one, but there was something kind of unfocused about it that kind of looked like it was badly printed, and I thought that was kind of the design of them, whereas this one looks a lot clearer. So I think it was just that particular book. Either it is the design of that one or the printing of that one, I don't know. It's still beautiful, but it just seemed like out of focus somehow, whereas this is lovely and clear and beautiful. I don't know anything about the storyline of this one, but it's Daphne du Maurier, so. And then lastly, I have the Berlin novels by Christopher Isherwood. So this is a bind-up of Mr. Norris Changes Trains and Goodbye to Berlin. Goodbye to Berlin was the inspiration for the film Cabaret with Liza Minnelli, which is something that I watched years and years and years ago with school. I think I saw all of it, but I'm really not sure anymore. But it's something that I'd like to revisit, but I've also liked to read the original inspiration too. So that covers all the books that I was either gifted or gifted myself for my birthday. So if you've read any of these ones and have any recommendations for where I should start, or if you've got any questions about anything that I've shown here, please let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!